I'm in Doma, but I got to go to my kids' interview, so I have to wear a mask because it can keep the alcohol smell away. Sorry, push.
For what?
I got to bring Simcha tonight. His interview. 1:20.
Ah, I hear you. All right, enjoy it. All right, we got our minion. We're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Okay, so these next. What first of all? What time tomorrow? Shall I dare to say 3:45? Right? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Arn Kaplan is on. I can't tell you if he's by the Zoom yet.
What's right? What time is the shkia tomorrow? Right, 4. What time is shkia? 4:40. 4:22. Oh, excuse me. We have an advantage this week because there's really no daf on Shabbos. Right? It's a half a Amud Shabbos. So we can do partial daf. Next week, Rez Hashem, we'll start doing more on Thursday night. And then like a Amud on Friday. But this week, I think we can let's call it for 10 to 4. That's all. 10 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Aaron Kaplan is there. Did he hear that?
No, but I'll text him.
All right, thank you. And what's his Shabbos? Would the island rather it later or earlier?
The earlier the better.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta hear what we gotta make it early enough for that, late enough for the out of towners or whatever. We'll see.
What's the next Masechta?
Tinus.
Tinus.
Tinus is Sunday, Bez Hashem.
Why does it go out of order?
Just
So
so
the
you should
children should
ask. Just so you should ask.
So the children should ask. Yep.
There you go. I think it works. One shot that they had said is that it goes in prokim order. I mean, you don't like. I don't know. I didn't hear that one either. But
I don't know what that means.
Shabbos is 24. Then Erevin is 10. Psachim is 10. Yuma 8.
8. Yuma's 8.
What's next? Sukkah 5. Be'ah 5. Rosh Hashanah is 4. Now we do all the 4s, and then you get to the 3. Chagigas 3. Megillah's 3 or 4.
Is that like that with any of the other Sodom?
I wish I knew.
What time Motzei Shabbos?
I don't know. We got to take a vote from the Olam. A stomach earlier is better.
There's no Sabanim.
There is. So like after 1 second. What time is Let me check what time Nova Sabanim is. Shayashav Ava Sabanim is over at 7:35. I would say we should do it like 7:15. That would be my call. 7:15, 7:30 in that area. But whatever.
I'm telling him right now, 7:15, 7:30.
All right. Okay, we got more time to fight about it. Okay, so let's go. Yeah. So now we get into mamish, the nitty gritty of Hilchos Rosh Hashanah, Hilchos tikiyos. Chaval, we don't do tosfos because the tosfos on Amud Beis is givaldik. Mamish goes through everything you wanted to know about Hilchos tikiyos shofar is on the tosfos on Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. Okay, but let's try and get there first. Okay, so it's the Gemara, the top of Lamed Gimel Aleph, Mamish top line. No, I'm sorry. No. We didn't. No, we didn't do the Mishnah. Sorry. Base. The Mishnah. Mishnah at the bottom, Lamed Beis, Lamed Beis. Yeah. Shofar Rosh Hashanah. Here we have it. Mishnah Lamed Beis, Lamed Beis. Shofar Rosh Hashanah. So the Shofar Rosh Hashanah. Ein mavir nalav tchum. You are not allowed to go over the tchum. Vein mefachim nalav zagal, and you're not allowed to clean up a pile of stones. Meaning, if the shofar is under the pile of stones, you're not allowed to clean up under it. You're not allowed to ride on a. You're not allowed to go up a tree to get the shofar if it's in the tree, and you can't ride on a behema. Right, in order to get to tikiyos shofar. And you're not allowed to swim on the water. And you're not allowed to cut it. You're not allowed to cut it down. Or either there's two pshatim. Either means to cut it off the animal, or to cut the insides out because you have to hollow it out. Whether the cutting it is a derabanan, which is the derabanan, or it's if it's mamash is a deraisa, which the Gemara is going to explain which one is what would be a derabanan, what would be a deraisa. Yeah.
So it says you can't do a drabanan. So what about the very simple case? In the 5 towns, there's 7 farm stores and there's 10 shuls within 3 blocks of each other. Can a guy take a key, open up one of the stores, and the alarm goes on, and he takes a shofar out of the store? Can he do that?
I hear. Why should he be able to do that? If it was saying
That's what I'm asking. I don't know. What's he doing? He's gonna be gurm, the alarm's gonna go on. Other than opening up a store, what's the problem?
I'm saying, but they're gonna cause the alarm to go off.
Yeah, that's my question. Yeah. It's more mistama that could happen than these cases, right? I mean,
saying that's like a grama, so maybe that should be allowed.
Yeah, I didn't know grum and shfus. What would?
Yeah, I don't know. L'chayr it's a derabanan, and it would be a problem. That's what I would think.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of questions here because normally, for a mitzvah, we allow a shvus to shvus. We would allow a double derabanan, right? Which the Gemara is going to explain why we don't say that. And then the stomach question is why do we ever allow it on Rosh Hashanah to blow the shofar? Right? It's a issur to blow shofar.
Well, that's the mitzvah. I mean,
Right. The teretz. That's the teretz. The Rishonim say that it's that's the mitzvah. You can't not do the mitzvah. Right? Okay, so let's see weiter. So but then you're not allowed to prevent the kids from blowing shofar. But you can be busy with them until they learn how to do it. Meaning you're allowed to, there's 2 pshatim with this also. One is that you're allowed to let them play with the shofar and practice until they get to know how to do it. And another pshat is that the adults are allowed to blow the shofar to get them into it, right? Or to teach the kids. Yeah, okay.
Do we worry about being mechanech people, kids on Shabbos that way? Meaning, like, you have 6 days throughout the week to do it, and you have to do it on Shabbos. You have to learn how to do this stuff. I'm sorry, on Yom Tov.
No, you're right. No, this is even Shabbos. We're going to see in the Gemara. This is even Shabbos, Simon. So yeah, that you're allowed to do it. That you're allowed to do it because of.
I could see like what like don't stop him if he's started, but why would you allow him to do so? Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I hear because I guess they get into it. They get into it on Yom Tov, I guess, on Shabbos, whatever. They get into it. No.
I don't know.
mean, I agree with Simon. You know,
Well,
your kid picks up a shofar, you say he can't do it today. He gets
Is that
into it
the
only
case,
because
but-
he's allowed to do, because we're letting him continue.
Yeah,
But
if
if he
that's
picks it
the
up
case,
and you say, sorry, can't do that today, so he doesn't get into it.
may as well let him turn on lights on Shabbos, you know, like, I don't know, like, you know, I know it's a big step, but, you know, at that point, what's the difference?
Like,
You know?
right, but it is a mitzvah of some sort. It is a oh, it's not like they're stomping.
Aren't they, if an adult did it, they'd be over an Isser, right?
An adult did it. No,
They'd be over an Isser doing it, right?
no, second that you are allowed to.
Am I getting caught in between the Yontif and Shabbos? Do I keep reading one and the other?
Let's wait till the Gemara. Let's wait till the Gemara to see. Yeah, because the Gemara is going to discuss whether it's Shabbos or not. Okay, so then the Mishna continues. So somebody who's busy with the shofar is not yotze, meaning you stop blowing, and then it ends up being the proper shofar, tikiyos, truah, all that stuff. Then you're not yotze. And if somebody hears from somebody who just happens to be blowing without any sort of kavanah, he's also not yotze. Okay, so let's see now. So Zog the Gemara, or Frag the Gemara, my timer. What's the reason, right? Why don't we say Esther Doicha Loisa say, right? The mitzvah of blowing shofar should be Doicha, the Loisa says, of doing malacha. So my answer, shofar asehu. The mitzvah of shofar is a mitzvah aseh, v'yomtiv aseh v'loisa say. And yomtiv is an aseh and a loisa say. V'ein aseh Doicha is loisa say v'aseh. And we know the rule is that an essay, even though it's Doicha loisa say, but it's not Doicha loisa say and an aseh. So yomtiv is a loisa say and an aseh. So therefore, doing Averis is not going to be Doicha. We're not going to say Esa Doicha Loisa. So that's why we don't allow any of these things. Right? Right. And they're not even Durabbanans either. So so you can't go up a tree, you can't ride an animal. If you said that you're not allowed to do a Durabbanan, do I need to tell you you're not allowed to do a Daraisa? Meaning if you're not allowed to do a Durabbanan in order to get a shofar, so of course you're not allowed to do a Daraisa. So our answer is zu ve'ein tzarich loymar zu, which is the shtickle daichik teretz, meaning when the Gemara doesn't really have a choice, and the Gemara says it's zu ve'ein tzarich loymar zu, meaning we're saying, yeah, you can't do a derabanan, and it goes without saying that you can't do an Isser Torah either, right? But really, the Gemara didn't have to say that. The Gemara could have just stopped after the derabanan without saying anything about a deraisa. Okay, so on to next Amud, on to Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph. So vein chaytchanoisa, you're not allowed to cut it up. Vein b'davar shum mishum shvus, whether it's rabbinic, vein b'davar shum mishum loisase, or it's mamash loisase. So mishum shvus. So what would be a shvus? Magola. A magola is like what do you call a magola?
Sickle.
Like sickle, right? A sickle, meaning it's not something that you would normally. It's not something that you would normally clean out a shofar with. A sickle. A sickle's meant to cut down reeds, right? Whatever, grain. So to clean out a shofar or to cut the shofar off the animal, whichever pshat you're going with, since that's not the norm, that's a derabanan, right? If you would cut your nails with a nail clipper on Shabbos, that'd be an issa deraisa. If you cut your nails with your fingers and you just peel your nails, or you cut them with your teeth, that's an issa derabanan. Right? If you do it with the regular derech of the week, it's a deraisa. You do it without the regular derech, then it's a derabanan. So loisa said, but to do it as a deraisa, sakinas with a knife. Yeah. Then Gemara again asks the same kasha. So hashta mishum shvus amrit loy. If you said a derabanan, you can't do loisasa mivoy. Do you need a loisasa? So Gemara answers zu vein tzarich loymar zu katani. Again, the same thing. Really, yes. The Gemara is saying that you can't be over on a derabanan, and it goes without saying that you can't do a deraisa. That's how you have to read the Mishna. Okay. Then aval imratza litin l'saychem mayim or yayin yitin. If you want to put into it water or wine in order to clean it out, so you're allowed to. Meaning, what's the chiddush with that? The chiddush is that even though you're fixing the shofar in some way, shape, or form, right? Still, it's not that's allowed because it's not really fixing it, it's just cleaning it. The other cases where
It's not masakin.
it's not misakin because the shofar is the shofar, you're just cleaning it out. You're not making it from a shofar that can't be used to a shofar that can be used now.
You're enhancing the sounds.
Right.
What?
What do you
You're
The shofar
enhancing.
could be used, but it's just not working great.
Okay, you're enhancing it. You're it's masakin, no?
No, but it's it's not misakin because it's already usable. No?
I don't know.
I think you're just cleaning it out. Like a lot of times the Baal Tekeiah runs water through the shofar, right? To get out the saliva or whatever it is. So the way I understand it is that it is a workable shofar. Right? It's a workable shofar, but you're just cleaning it out. So you're not making it from a non-shofar to a shofar. Anyway, so let's see. Mayim ayayin in water or wine you could do meraglaim loy, but meraglaim urine you're not allowed to do. Masnisin money. Who's the Tana of our Mishna? Abasholi. It's going to Abashol. The Tanya Abashol. Omer mayim ayayin mutter kedei letzachtzachai. Yayin and water and wine is good in order to clean it. Meraglaim asur mipnei hakavod, but meraglaim you can't do it because it's not proper respect to put meraglayim and in a shofar, which is very interesting because meraglayim yafin lo, right? That's the same thing. We say that in tikiyos. Meraglayim really would be good for it. How does it go? Right? Exactly. That's exactly what we say.
Is there a difference between meraglayim from like a behemoth versus a man? What are they referring to here?
I think they're referring to any, but I thought for sure human.
Mhm.
No, I think
don't
it would
know.
be both.
What's the difference, Simon?
I don't know if there is a difference, but they used to use like piss into a thing, and it would turn into ammonia, and then they would use that as a cleanser. Like
Correct. That's why we're even bringing it up that it would.
A lot of times it was like animal urine, because humans only have X amount, so much piss, but animals can piss all day, every day. They just collect a massive amount of it.
Thanks a lot. We appreciate that, son.
You got to ask Ilum in South Bend, Simon. Whether there's a difference between human, is one more covered or less covered? I have no idea. I don't know.
I mean, we talk about halacha, right? So, like, is the halacha? I don't know. I'm not sure what the pratim are.
I thought both, but
why would you think there's a difference?
Because I don't know how many times people pee into a.
What's the difference? How many times? Why would you think there's a difference?
Meaning,
you asked the question. Why?
And you're asking a question I'm trying to answer. So zip it for a second. I'll tell you. Human beings only have so much. No,
don't talk to me like that, because I'm not a behemoth.
People have so much.
Talk to me like a man. Don't tell me to do that, okay?
Okay. I apologize, but next time try to let someone actually talk. I would appreciate that too. Now, the reality is that people have only so much fish, but they also basically homesteaded and had so much. That's why I'm asking. Does it make a difference? Because maybe they used this, animal piss for this product, and they did it, elsewhere, right? I have no idea. That's why I'm trying to see if there was a difference.
I don't know. I mean, it's brought in Shulchan Aruch, but it doesn't say. The only thing is
there is an opinion that meraglayim is not urine; it's something else.
That's true, Doctor. That's a good point. There are those meraglayim. Yeah, what is it? What do they hold it is?
There's a river called Meraglayim. Yeah.
Is that what they? Yeah. Well, and the thing we should point out is that this is obviously not talking only about Shabbos, right?
What are you referring to? Oh,
okay.
The
Mishna Mayim and Yayin is referring to Shabbos. right?
Is it?
Yeah, mayim. Why can't you put mayim and yayin into your shofar during the week?
I thought we were
I mean,
talking about Yontif.
Shabbos, so kol sheken you put in the week. The urine is not a Shabbos issue. It's a even weekday issue,
Right.
right? Which is interesting because the Gemara didn't say that. You could read the Gemara. You could learn the Gemara. Maybe the Gemara for something. There's something wrong with it during only on Shabbos because that's what the Mayim and Yayin is referring to. But that's clearly not what it is. That's what the Mechaber.
Are we talking about Shabbos or Yontif?
Either one. Oh, really? Even Yom Tiv, Kol Sheken Shabbos. Yeah. Yeah. All right, whatever it is. Okay, fine. Let's see. A major Gemara right here. Where's Marchuk? He's not in, but right. So this is a major Gemara with the Tosfos. You don't prevent the tinaikus from blowing the shofar. It's mashma that if a woman decides that she wants to blow the shofar, right? Then you're there. You stop the women from blowing shofar. That's what it's mashma, right? Kids are pattur, women are pattur, right? So we're saying kids, you're allowed to let them play with the shofar and blow it or whatever. That's mashma. Women, you can't. And Rashi, that's unbelievable. There's Rashi in the first thin line says that what's wrong with a woman blowing shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Because they're over on Bal Taisif, that they're adding on to the Torah, that they're not chayiv to blow shofar, and then it's saying they're over on Bal Taisif. What is that? What does that mean, Bal Taisif? Bal Taisif normally, this everybody asks on this Rashi. Bal Taisif is normally like if you have a mitzvah to take one lulav and you take two lulavim, you Bal Taisif. But if you're not in the mitzvah bichlal, that's not Bal Taisif, right? But clearly that's what Rashi. That's the way Rashi's learning this, which comes out seemingly according to Rashi. That means women can't sit in the sukkah, they can't take lulav and esrog, and they can't blow shofar, right?
Are you're saying Rashi's saying that the mere act of doing something on Yontif that they don't have a chiyuv to do is already Bal Taisif?
Yes, exactly what Rashi's saying. Yeah, it's mamash. It's a big chiddush, right? It's a big chiddush. Let's see how the rest of the sugya plays out. For Tanya,
on Shabbos week, we don't. The God's Kleisel doesn't blow shofar on Shabbos because we're afraid you're going to carry down shus around.
right?
Here we're letting kids play with it.
Even what we're talking about Pashas, we're talking about the kids is on Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, not Shabbos, which we're going to see. Right, we'll see that soon. Right? The Gemara is going to say it in a minute, but the Pashtus is it means Rosh Hashanah that you're allowed.
First words of the Mishnah were shofar shel Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah. And the Pashtus is it's Rosh Hashanah. Anyway, so let's see how the Gemara plays out first, and then we'll. So the Gemara says, "Ha noshim ma'akvin, noshim we're going to stop them. Vatanya ein ma'akvin loyasa noshim v'loyasa tinoikus militkaya b'yomtiv." We don't stop not women and not children from blowing on Yom Tiv. Right? Amar Abaye lekasha harab Yehuda harab Yaisi v'Rab Shimon. No, one is Reb Yehuda, one is Reb Yaisi v'Rab Shimon. The Tanya, because we learned in a brisa, so we know that just a hakdam before we learn this brisa that certain karbanos need smicha. We have to actually, the owner of the carbon, whoever's bringing the carbon, has to lean on the animal, right? So we're gonna have a machlokes whether women are chayiv to lean on the animal or not, right? So the Tanya Daber B'nai Yisrael, it says speak to B'nai Yisrael. B'nai Yisrael, so B'nai Yisrael is not B'nai Yisrael. So B'nai Yisrael Samchin, men have to lean on the carbon, Ve'in B'nai Yisrael Samchos, and women of Klal Yisrael don't do smicha. Divrei Reb Yehuda. That's Reb Yehuda holds. Reb Yisrael Reb Shimon Arim Noshim Samchos Rishus. They're allowed to if they want, right? So what we see from here, so Reb Yehuda holds that not only don't the women do it, they're not allowed to lean on the animal. Reb Yehuda and Reb Yisrael Reb Shimon hold that it's a rishus, and since it's a rishus, they're allowed to. So we're going to say that the same thing applies to shofar, right? That if a woman, if according to Reb Yehuda, women are not allowed to blow the shofar at all. According to Reb Yisrael Reb Shimon, women would be allowed to blow the shofar, right? Yeah, we're good. Did I blank out for a minute?
No, no.
Okay, because I'm on my phone and somebody called it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's a shver Rashi. That's a shver Rashi. How it works. And Taisus is chaylik. Now here you have this Taisus. It's a big Taisus, but Taisus here goes through whether women are allowed to do mitzvahs shazman garoma. Right? When Taisus comes out that women are allowed to do mitzvahs shazman garoma, and they're even allowed to make a bracha. Right? We know the way the Svardim paskin not like the Taisus. The Mechaber holds that women, they could do mitzvahs shazman grama, they're not allowed to make a bracha. Ashkenazim, the Ramah paskins like this Taisus, that women can do mitzvahs shazman grama, and they're even allowed to make a bracha. Right? Like Reb Yossi and Reb Shimon, that hold that women are allowed to. Yeah? So that's and then he goes through with all the mitzvahs. Are they allowed to be mitzi a man, etc., etc. Okay, fine. So if anybody's interested, that's a major toisis. Fine. Aval misaskin behem zbaitim gemara. Misaskin v'nachi yilmudu. You're allowed to be misasik with the kids until they learn how to blow. Somewhere Rebbe Elazar, afilu b'Shabbos. Even on Shabbos, when we don't even blow shofar, you're allowed to let the kids blow in order to learn how to yeah, it's a zev, that's your kasha, right? How do we allow that?
Yeah.
Right? But besides for that, stam you're not allowed to make noise on Shabbos.
But we're not worried that if we allow them to do this now, when they get older, they're going to be like, oh, I was allowed to touch it when I was 11, so now I can bring it to shul. Now I could use it. If I'm allowed to do it now, why can't I do it next year or the year after?
Very good. So very good. So that this Gemara is only, remember we a while ago. I don't know, what was it? That in Bezdin they did blow the shofar on Shabbos, right? Yavne, right? We had a Mishna, right? That they blew that in the beginning till Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai came along. That was one of his takonas, right? That we don't blow the shofar anymore, right? It was one of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai's takonas. No, it wasn't.
He did the opposite. He made them blow it in Yavna.
Right, but then afterwards he didn't stop it. I don't remember. Whatever it is, in the beginning after the Churban, they blew the shofar on Shabbos during even in Bezdin on Shabbos or b'fnei Bezdin. That was the whole Machlokes. B'fnei Bezdin, if Bezdin has to be in session, whatever it is, but they blew it. So the Gemara is saying here that even on Shabbos, that was only when Bezdin would blow it on Shabbos like this. David, that answers your kasha, because then the kids were able to blow because they were playing like Bezdin or something, and there was such a concept of doing it. But after they stopped blowing even in Bezdin, then the kids would not be allowed to blow on Shabbos. That's the Pashup shot.
No, the shofar was blown in Bezdin.
Correct. So when the shofar was blown in Bezdin, we would allow the kids to blow the shofar on Shabbos.
In Yerushalayim or just in the base of English?
Outside, when he went to Yavna, that was the thing. It wouldn't have been an issue if he blew it in the basement.
It was only in Yavna that they let the kids blow the shofar. It was anywhere. As long as there was a concept of blowing shofar on Shabbos, then we let the kids blow the shofar on Shabbos. Once it became totally yasser, then we no longer allow it.
Since when do we want the kids to do stuff that is also to the people?
No, we only allowed it back then when it was mutter for people with Bezdin. And a Chanami, once they asked it in Bezdin, then they don't allow the kids. Right? That's what you have to say. First of all, if a kid does an Isser on his own, you don't have to stop him. You're not allowed to give him the Isser, but you don't have to stop him till he's a Gia L'chinuch, which we're going to get to in a minute. Let's see the next Gemara.
Excuse me, Siakov, Michael.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
I'm waiting 2 nights for you to ask. We had this case 2 Masechtas ago where in Yerushalayim in 1900 they blew shofar on Shabbos. I was waiting for you to ask, but you didn't.
And I was waiting for you to bring it up. You know.
No, I wait. I gave you the cover to bring it up because you read the article and everything.
There's a lot of action on this year that I've been missing. I didn't want to add to it. But I was thinking of Aaron. I was thinking of it the whole time.
Mike,
Yeah,
you brought it up once?
Yeah, we had it. I forgot, maybe in I don't know which Masechta we had it.
Yuma.
And I found the article online. I told Michael where it was. One of the Batei Dinim, one of the Gedolei Yerushalayim. In the chutzner of one of the Batei Dinim, they say he blew shofar on Shabbos Rosh Hashanah, about 100 years ago. I can't remember the pratim, but yeah.
I'm looking it up. You texted it to me.
Yeah, there was something. I forgot who it was. He tried to rally support and then he lost it.
Yeah, he lost the support. I think it was a Schlesinger. I think it was a Schlesinger.
Interesting. Okay, so let's see. The summer of Elazar, I feel b'Shabbos. Even on Shabbos. So Tani Nami Hachi is asking behen at sheyilmadu afilu b'Shabbos. Right? They're allowed to you let them be Isaac in it, busy with it, until they learn even on Shabbos. And we don't stop the kids from blowing on Shabbos. And it goes without saying that even on Yom Tov. Gemara says, Amrid asking behenat sheyilmadu afilu b'Shabbos. You said that they could be busy with it until they learn. On Shabbos, Alma lechatchila. Sounds like the lechatchila. You tell them that they can blow. V'hadatran ein makvin. Then you said, we don't stop them. Ikuva hu delay makvin. We don't stop them. Lechatchila lo yamrin antaku. But lechatchila we don't tell them to blow. Meaning, the first part says you can be busy with them until they learn. That which means that lechatchila you let them play with the shofar. But then the next line says, Ein ma'akfin, you don't stop them. That's mashma, you don't stop them, but you don't give it to them either. So which one is it? Do you give it to them or you don't give it to them? So my answer is, Loi kasha, this is a wild teretz, Loi kasha, kan bekotten, on base now, kan bekotten shegil chinuch, kan bekotten shaloi higil chinuch. One is talking about a kotten who's already reached the age of chinuch, and one is talking about a kotten that didn't reach the age of chinuch. Now, if you stop and try and say, what's the teretz? So you would think that the one that's higil chinuch, you tell him not to blow the shofar. If he does, he does. And the one that's not higil chinuch, you let him blow the shofar. He's not higil chinuch. He's a kid. He has nothing. Rashi says the exact opposite. That the kid who's higil chinuch, he's allowed to blow the shofar. Right? But the kid who's not a gila chinuch, so it's meaningless. So why let him blow a shofar? Zev and David. This is sort of like what you're getting. How do you let a kid do it? So it comes out that enochanami, a kid who's a gila chinuch, so he has a chiv to blow shofar. So you're going to let him do it. A kid who's like,
he's not a chiv.
Anyways, he's not getting a mitzvah anyway. So why let him blow? Right? That's the way Rashi understands it.
But so Yaakov, the blowing isn't the mitzvah anyway.
Oh, so that's a different tumah, which we're going to get into tomorrow's daf Be'ez Hashem, okay. which is really, is it blowing or is it hearing, right? Anyways, so but Taisus, the other big Taisus on Amud Aleph asks on Rashi and he says fakert. It has to be the opposite. When the kid's lo yigil chinuch, then you let him blow the shofar because who cares? Right, that would be the standard svara. He's lo yigil chinuch. Let him blow the shofar. He doesn't have to do mitzvahs, right? And yigil chinuch, then already you tell him not to. If he blows on his own, he blows on his own, right? I mean that gets into the whole thing of there's chinuch, there's yigil chinuch, and then there's yigil chinuch to do isurim. The age of yigil chinuch to do isurim is much younger than the age to do mitzvahs. Meaning, a kid is a gila chinuch, so he doesn't have to keep lulav and esrog till he learns how to shake it, right? So let's say that would be 6, 7. But to tell a kid not to do isser on Shabbos, usually they can understand at a younger age than that. In which case, you don't have to stop them, but you can't give it to them either, right? Meaning, there's two different gila chinuchs. There's a gila chinuch towards mitzvahs haseis, and there's a gila chinuch to lois haseis. The chinuch lechinuch, what Loisa say, is a much younger age, right? So giving the kid a shofar would be a younger age because it's a iser. Yeah, fine. Okay, so that's another machlokes Rashi Tosfos, which one is higiyah lechinuch and which is not. Okay, fine. And somebody who's busy with the shofar, but he's not consciously blowing the shofar to be yotze the mitzvah, he's not yotze. Hatakei l'shir yotze. It's mashma that if he's blowing to make music, then he's yotze. Let's say it's a proof to Rava. Dama Rava hatakei l'shir yotze. Somebody blows for shir, he's yotze. Right? So Gemara says, no, maybe blowing for a shear is also considered a misasik. Right? Misasik is also right, meaning if somebody's blowing for shear, that's also considered like he's busy. He's not consciously blowing to make tikiyos. And if you hear the shofar from somebody who's just stopped blowing the shofar, is not yotze. But that if you hear from somebody who's blowing for himself, then he would be ma'id and would be yotze. Is yotze? Let's say there's a kasha on Reb Zera, the Amar le Reb Zera, the Shame, because we had this a few blot ago, that Reb Zera told the Shamas, ichaven v'tokali. You have to have kavanah to know that you're blowing for me. Right? Reb Zera had told his Talmud, meaning when we were discussing about the case of like walking by a shul and being yotze tikiyos. So we had said that you would be yotze. So Reb Zera, it seemed like was held not like that, because Reb Zera said the person blowing the shofar has to know who he's blowing for. So here it's mashma, not like that. So the one answers, Ilma ID, the Tana Reisha Misasik, Tana Sefer Nami Misasik. Since the Reisha said it's talking about Misasik, so the Sefer also says it's talking about somebody Misasik. But maybe even if he's not Misasik, right? If the guy was not having kavanah for every individual who's listening, then he wouldn't be yotze. So it's not a diak. It's not a diak. Okay. Now we start with the Mishnah, exactly what goes on with all the tikiyos. Yeah, so say the tikiyos, meaning why we blow, how many we blow, etc., etc. So say the tikiyos, what's the seder of the tikiyos? Shalosh, right? You have 3 sets, meaning one for malchiyos, one zechroinus, and one shofras.
Interesting how they wait till the last blot to talk about this.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. You want to end it with a bang. That's I guess that's why, right?
Tooting their own horn.
Yeah, very good. So anyway, so shalosh, it's malchis, zechroinus, and shofras. Shalosh, right? Of three, meaning each one has tikiyah, truah, tikiyah to each and every one, right? So it's 3 for 3 of 3, which we'll see exactly what that means in Gemara. So shir tikiyah, how long does the tikiyah have to be? Kishalish truas, like 3 truas. Shir truah, how long? Kishalish yuvavas, like 3 little kvetches. Fine. Then we had this Gemara a couple of times. Talk about Rishon Mashach B'Shniya Kishtayim. If meaning because since you're going Tikiyah, Shvarim Tikiyah, and Tikiyah, Shvarim Tikiyah, right? So that Tikiyah, that middle Tikiyah, maybe you want a guy's in a rush, like we said. So you want, instead of blowing a Tikiyah and then stopping and then blowing another Tikiyah, he just blows one long Tikiyah and he wants it to suffice as the last Tikiyah for the first set and the first Tikiyah for the next set. So if he does that, Ein b'yadei alachas, that only counts as one tikiyah, because you can't split a tikiyah. Fine. So Misha Beirach, for here, for some reason, this Gemara for the next plot till the end of the Masechta doesn't talk about the davening as tefillah. And when it's talking about the davening musaf, right? Malchiyos, Zechronis, and Shofars, because each one is a separate bracha, so we call it Misha Beirach, but it doesn't mean a Misha Beirach, like by Kriyas Torah or makes a bracha. It means when he davened musaf, meaning he didn't have a shofar, so they davened musaf without a shofar. So Misha Beirach, and then they got the shofar. I guess there were too many splits of shuls in town, and they didn't have enough shofars to go around. And they didn't let them store. Right, so Mamela, so they had to wait for their turn for the shofar. You don't have to wait. You daven, and then afterwards, then Tekei Mariva, Tekei Shalos Pram, and then you blow 3 times. And you don't have to repeat the davening. Fine. Then you say this to Machlokes here. Kashem sheshibur chayev kol kach kol. I'm sorry. Kashem sheshibur chayev kach kol yochid v'yochid chayev. Meaning just like the shots, the chazzan has to daven everybody else has to daven too. Meaning the Tanakama holds that the shliach tzibur is not mitzi anybody. Rabbi Gamliel Omer shliach tzibur mitzi as a rabbi midei basan. Right, the shliach tzibur is mitzi everybody, and the individuals do not have to daven. Okay, that will be the Shabbos is daf as the chef. So
You see, Yaakov?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wrote down over there. That's when the Shlomo in the first yeshiva when he had polyps, he had surgery for 2 or 3 days he couldn't talk at all. So by the chazaras shots he would stand right next to the shots. So I think he should be mighty and made sure he heard everything. I'm not exactly, but he stood right next to the shots for the chazaras shots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mustami asked him also to dafka have him in mind, I would assume.
I guess so, yeah.
Unless he's assuming that you had that, you hope.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody, I don't know if people kept the notes because he wrote notes to everybody. He didn't talk for like 2 or 3 days.
Taka?
I didn't have any, I didn't keep any of the notes, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so frag the Gemara. So Gemara said, Batanya shir tekiya truah. We said the Mishna says that the shir tekiya is like 3 truahs, and we have a brisa that says shir truah is like a true like shir tekiya is like a truah. So it's like 1 truah is like 3 truahs. So Amar Abaya Tana di dan kachashav tikiyos tekulu bave for truahs bave. Our Tana is counting all the tikiyos and all the truahs. Tana bra kachashav chad bave v'sulai. Tana bra means the brisa. The Tana of the brisa is only counting 1, meaning they're saying the same thing. Our Mishna, when it says 3, is referring to all 3 sets, and the brisa is only referring to 1 set, but they're really saying the same shir. Okay, but then the Gemara says shir truah gimel yavavas. The shir truah is like 3 kvetches. But Tanya shir truah kishloisha shvarim, right? The brisa says that the shir truah is like 3 shvarim. Yeah, so there you don't have the teretz. Amar Abaye b'ha v'adai pligi. Here for sure our Mishnah and the brisa are arguing. Again, our Mishnah says that the shir truah is shalosh yavavas, and the brisa is saying it's shloisha shvarim. So Rabbi Bahavade Pligi, it's a Machlokes. Tichsiv Yom truah yiyalach. It should be a Yom truah. Metargamin on Yom Yebava Yehai Lachain. It should be a day of Yevava. Uksiv beimei de Sisra, and it says by Sisra's mother, right, that she was waiting for her husband, for her son to come home, and Lamaisi he was killed. So, and she was crying while she was waiting for him. So Ba'ara Chaloin Nishkava, she was by the window and she was looking. Right? V'siyabev aim Sisra, and Sisra's mother cried. So you see that a yevava is some sort of crying. So Marsar genuche gonach. So one holds that was like a how do you say it? Like a moaning. Umarsar yelula yolo. It wasn't a moaning. It was more like crying. So it was much shorter. Right. So that's just a machlokes. The Tana exactly.
Is that why Ramastoli said the open should do
Machlokes how? No, that's just how. That's a machlokes. What a shvarim sounds like. Yeah.
In Shulchan
Aruch? There's different. Yeah. No, in Rishonim, the Shulchan Aruch, there's Rashi's. There's Rashi's shvarim. There's all different machlokes Rishonim exactly what a shvarim is supposed to sound like. If you look through this Tosfos actually is not a hard Tosfos. This whole Tosfos goes through when we blow 3, and whether you need to have a breath in between. You don't have to have a breath in between. The main part to take out from the Tosfos is he brings it in the middle, which I'm sure I'm not going to find.
So we should spend Shabbos doing all 3 Tosfoses and just spend the whole Shabbos.
Truth is, if you're ever going to do Tosfos, and these Tosfos are the ones to do, they're very geschmack. But in the middle there, he says, where do we get 100? It's 5 wide lines down, right? Because we blow 30 koilas before Musaf, 30 koilas during Musaf, right? And 30 and 40 after, so you get 100. Where does the 100 come from? So the Aruch says that Sisra's mother had 100 different cries. So because Sisra's mother had 100 different cries, that's why we want to have 100 different things. That's this Tosfos, right? There are 4 wide lines down and the 5 wide lines down in the Tosfos. That's what Tosfos says. The big kasha that everybody asks is Sisra. He's a guy. Like what was his him? So he cry. Okay, there's a lot of vertical on that, but that's where we get that because really there's only reason to blow 60 kilos, not 100. So
why
come.
is there even a chiyuv for 30 or 60? Why is there?
We're gonna be doing now. We're gonna start with that now. How we get to 30, how you get to 30, and how you get to 60. That we understand. But more than that, we don't know. I mean, we do know. Tosfos says it's based on Sisra's mother, which is Tam. Yeah. Okay. So Tanur Rabbanan, back in the Gemara. Tanur Rabbanan. Minayin sheba shofar. How do you know that you're supposed to blow a shofar? So Tamalaymar, because it says Vavarta shofar truah. Now here, the fascinating thing with this is that this pasuk is not talking about Rosh Hashanah. It's talking about Yom Yovel, like we learned this week. You gotta blow the shofar on the Yovel, Yom Kippur of Yovel. You blow the shofar. So there it says shofar. So what it says, Ainli Ela Yovel. Okay, so that tells me that you got to use a shofar on Yovel. But Rosh Hashanah minayin. How do you know on Rosh Hashanah? Because it says in the 7th month. Now, why do you? If it says that you blow the shofar Yovel of Yom Kippur, we know Yom Kippur is in the 7th month. It doesn't have to tell me that you're blowing it in the 7th month. What's it teaching us in the 7th month? Shiukol truah shachayda shvi zeh kazeh. What's teaching you is that anytime you have to blow the shofar in Tishrei, whether it's Yom Kippur of Yovel or Rosh Hashanah, it has to be done with a shofar. Okay, so that's how we know shofar. How do you know that? Because again, we have to truah. It says you have to blow truah. That's the middle. Either it's a 2-2-2 or 2-2-2-2, which we're going to get to tomorrow's daf as Hashem. But how do you know that you have to blow a tikiyos before and after everything? Right? How do you know you do a straight one before? And it says that you should blow. Havarta means sounds like is a sound. You should make a blowing of shofar of a truah. Okay, so therefore what? Havarta means pass, to pass. So meaning by saying the word vavarta, shofar truah, so vavarta means you do a tikiyos before each truah. Okay, so minayin shebeshuta lacharesa. How do you know you do a tikiyos afterwards? Tamilomer taviru shofar.
How do we know that the havarta means tikiyos?
Because havarta is something that you're passing through. So meaning there's no stops. So it's like you go straight. It's like the word havarta means that you go straight. Rashi, it's really a Rashi in the next daf. If you look at Rashi in Lamed Aleph, it says havarta is pshuta mashma, havaras kol echad. It's like you're passing through, you're just doing it quick, one long thing. You know, no stops like 2-2-2, 2-2-2-2. That's the way the Gemara is saying it. That the word havarta basically means a straight, like non-stop, right? Okay, so and how do we know that you blow a tikiyos after? Tamaloymar taviru shofar, same thing that you do taviru when you pass over the shofar. Fine, okay, so that only tells me on Yovel. But Rosh Hashanah minayin, how do you know that on Rosh Hashanah also every truah gets a tikiyos before and after? Tamaloymar b'chodesh hashvi. And on to the next Amud, it says b'chodesh hashvi. Shein tamaloymar b'chodesh hashvi. It doesn't have to tell you b'chodesh hashvi, because we know that Yom Kippur of Yovel is in Tishrei. Was it going to teach us b'chodesh hashvi? You call truah a chodesh hashvi zeh kazeh, that it should all be the same. Fine. Okay, so then okay, let's do a little bit more. And how do you know that it has to be 3 sets of three sounds from each one, right? Meaning truah, tikiyos, 3 times, once from Malchias, once for Zechroinus, and one for Shofars. Tamalay b'avarta shofar truah, and you blow a shofar truah, Shabbosin, Zichron truah. It's a Shabbosin of a Zichron truah. Yom truah yiyeh lachem. It should be a Yom truah. And how do you know that now we take the Rosh Hashanah and we learn it to Yom Kippur, and we take Yom Kippur and learn it to Rosh Hashanah. We're making a big challenge, and whatever the halachas it says by Rosh Hashanah apply to the shofar of Yovel on Yom Kippur, and whatever it says by the shofar of Yovel on Yom Kippur applies to Rosh Hashanah. It's a gzeira shava. Yeah. So okay, tzad shalosh shehein teisha. It's 3 that really come out to 9. And shir tkiya truah, and the length of a tria, and right, and the shir tkiya is truah. The length of a tkiya is like a truah, and shir truah k'shloisha shvarim, and the shir of a truah is k'shloisha shvarim. Meaning, if you ever notice when they're blowing the shofar, the Baal Tekiah, the tekiya has to be as long as whatever's being blown in the middle. So if it's a truah, right, what we call a truah, which is so then the tekiya has to be as long as that. When it's a shvarim truah, which we haven't learned yet why you have to do a shvarim and a truah, that to be on the bottom of the Amud, then since the shvarim truah is longer, it's 2. So then the tekiya before and after have to be much longer, right? So that's yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's stop here. Again, we all right now the Gemara is saying we know from Gzeira Shava. The next Gemara is going to ask a kasha on that it's really a hekesh, not a Gzeira Shava. Okay. So what do we say tomorrow? 350.
Yeah, 350. And then you have to get back to Arn Kaplan about the time after.
What's a Shabbos? Yeah.
Jackal, so tomorrow 350 and Matzah Shabbos we weren't sure. That's what we said?
I don't know what works for the island. To 7:15 or 7:30.
Well, Simon and Gershon, I guess, are home for Shabbos, but Rafe is on our part of the country.
All right. And the shaila is, what time is it over in Phoenix?
No, I'm not going.
Are you in Chicago? Oh, you're in your house.
We can't accommodate Phoenix for a month or so.
I was going to come. Logistic, there was no one to come pick us up.
Aaron, put that steak back in the freezer.
Rafe, we were going to set up the Zoom hookup for you, just so you feel like you're, really at home.
Thank you. There'll be other times, Amir Hashem.
All right.
Spyro, you coming to the Sam?
I responded yes.
All right, I didn't see responding because we can't text the
I
group.
told my wife. Oh, Linda, stop! Give it a rest. Naftali, when I told my wife, she says, "Are you sure you're feeling okay?"
You don't have a choice.
I don't have a choice. I do have a choice, but I am coming.
Now, if you want to hear
good
from
night,
me,
everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Chicago.
Sei gesund.
Gibt's Viagra.
Yeah.
You didn't text me yet.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
I could use a good one tonight. I really could.
How you doing?
Not great. Baruch Hashem for the daf. Thank you.
I was getting a little concerned.
No,
I thought maybe you had
almost
more
did.
donuts.
No. I just it was a rough day today. Baruch
Hashem. I'll send you a few actually, since you're doing shvach. Then.
Oh, thank you. By the way, I wanted to ask you, Siri, is it okay for me to say that?
You say yes, I should go.
It was Mendel. What do you say?
Is it okay for me to say that? I mean, to a lot of people, I sound crazy when I do that. I just said, you asked me how it's going. I said, it's a rough day, Baruch Hashem.
No, that's fine. That's what my father said when he was sick.
Ah, yeah? Okay, good. People do think I'm crazy, but no, Chazal say, Kishem Shem Varchen Al Tov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son said, he's going to start telling people, when they say, how you doing? He's going to say like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 2 out of 10.
When I say 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, it's the pace level.
Right.
Yeah, it was about a 9.5. Oh, wow. Baruch Hashem. Listen, every time it happens, I try to think about Hashkivenu. I'm not Hashkivenu. The first bracha of Myriv. That
Simple as any Bible in here. Let's go throw it out. Are there any garbages in the kitchen? Sorry.
Yeah.
What were you just saying?
I was saying every time I have a day like this, I just think of the first bracha of Ma'ariv. Say Goylil Oyer Mipnei Chayshech. The chashivas is more for the chayshech than the oyer. We don't say Goylil Oyer Mipnei Chayshech, v'Goylil Chayshech Mipnei Oyer. The chayshech Mipnei Oyer is like a grada, we do that also. But the Eibishter is Goylil Oyer Mipnei Chayshech. The chayshech has the chashivas more than the oyer. It's part of also why I heard of art. My brother told me. I'm not sure where it's from, but in Mizmor Shilya Shabbos, we say Lahagid Babayker Chastecha, to say over in the morning your chasadim. The emunascha balei lois. The emuna is for the nights, plural. The chashivas is for the darkness, the chayshech.
I'm not gonna go too much. Yeah.
The chesed takes one morning, you can see the chesed. But the emunascha balei lois is plural, leilois. That's the ikr, the emuna.
I hear.
The ikr, you need more dark, more chayshech than iron.
Does that make sense? That what is it called in Mizmor Shir? What do we say? Be'erev yalin bechi.
Bechi v'laboy karina.
Right. So you're saying so at night you are down.
Yeah, but that is the ikr. But v'la biker is vav ma'asav halin and rishon. It's not la biker, it's not a separate thing. Because be'erev yalin bechi, now v'la bikerina. If you got the bechi right, then you'll have the rina correct in the morning.
Right.
It's really a vartan kinafalti kamti. People confuse that with the pashat taich in Sheva Yipul Tzadik V'Kam. The tzaddik is the one who gets up after the seventh nefila also. Kinafalti kamti is much more than that. I mean, it's really pshat in Sheva Yipul Tzadik V'Kam. But kinafalti kamti, because I had the nefila, that's why I get up. Not just I had a nefila, now I'm going to get up. I'm using the nefila to bring myself closer to Hashem. That's why it's tzaddik v'kam.
I hear.
The chayshich is always the ikr. Always had an issue by close people that I'm close with, that I paid the shiva call to.